1.18, 1.18 from the PreCalculus OpenStax book. Essentially, you're being asked to, or I guess exactly what you're being asked, to find the domain of this function right here. In other words, what numbers can you put into this machine? Well, you can put in any numbers that won't break the machine, that won't give you some undefined output. So what would be an undefined output? Well, really, there's two things at this point in your class or in your mathematical journey that give you an undefined output: when you divide by 0 or when you take the square root, or really any even root of a negative number. I don't see any square roots or even roots going on here, so I don't have to worry about this second one. Really, I just got to make sure I don't divide by 0. So what input would make me divide by 0? We might be able to just look at this and tell that it's 2. However, a more formal way of doing it that might be useful when you have more complicated functions is by taking the denominator and setting that equal to 0. If you can solve this equation right here, you can figure out what x coordinates will make the denominator equal to 0. You could subtract 2 and divide by -1. I kind of prefer to add x to both sides of the equation to get x equals 2. That's not the answer. This is the one value that is not in the domain. So really what I'm talking about when I talk about my domain is everything except for 2. Here's 2 right here maybe. I'm talking about all this stuff and all this stuff. So how do you express that answer? Well, the answer to that is you either use interval notation or set builder notation. In interval notation, you'd say, what I've written up here is all the numbers from -infinity all the way up to +2, but not including +2, which is why I have this open parentheses here. And then also, that's this union symbol, all the numbers from 2 up to +infinity. Note again that this is a parenthesis here, not a bracket, because I do not want to include +2 in my answer. Also, the standard is to always have parentheses anytime you see infinities, whether they're negative infinity or otherwise. So in interval notation, this right here would be the answer to this question. In set builder notation, I could say it's the set of all x such that x is less than 2, or the set of all x such that x is greater than 2. You might be like, couldn't I just say the set of all x such that x does not equal 2? Sure, I mean, that would mean the same thing. I think your book typically writes it out like this, and I wrote it out like this, so it would correspond with interval notation. But what I just described would be the exact same. That's the end of this example.